It's time to farewell the dream stealers. Pay more attention to how incredible you are. Yeah, you. And nail your business's fundamentals. In fact, it's time to play a bigger game. Listen in, and I'll show you how.
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I'm your host, as usual, Timbo Reid, but you, so much more importantly, are a motivated small business owner ready to crank out some great marketing. And that is exactly what we do around here. Big show today. We have got a lot going on, and it's all about playing big. So well done to you for choosing to be part of it. I share some insights from a recent attendance at Content Marketing World in Sydney. I spoke there this week. I share a motivational marketing quote that will leave you feeling as though you can take on the world. And I've got a fireside chat with a very, very interesting fellow. Rowdy McLean is his name, who left a very cushy job in Australia's largest telecommunications company to go into competition with Australia's largest communications company. He won and made a squillion along the way. You're going to love this chat as Rowdy explains how we can all play a bigger game. It was a really, really good fireside chat. So stay tuned for that. And of course, there's always time for a weekly check-in. So there's lots of marketing gold dripping from the ceiling team, dripping from the headquarters of the Small Business Big Marketing HQ. So let's get stuck right in.
Small Business Big Marketing with Tim Reid. smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
So I was a presenter at Content Marketing World in Sydney this week. Content Marketing World is run by the Content Marketing Institute and a fellow and past guest twice, Joe Polizzi. And it was a great event. It was attended by, I'm guessing, maybe 200, 250 corporate types looking to embrace this thing they call content marketing, I call helpful marketing. So I want to share some insights with you, and you're going to find these, I think, very, very reassuring. Because insight number one, having spent some time with the heavy hitters of content marketing, is that if you listen to this show, you're already ahead of the game. I had a lot of things confirmed by attending Content Marketing World as opposed to learning new things, which is great because there's some guys over from the States sharing kind of, leading edge, bleeding edge type stuff. And hey, if you're applying the learnings from this show, you're ahead of the game. So big well done to you. But here's some additional learnings, ideas, insights. There's an increased interest in podcasting. I love that. I spoke about podcasting. I did one of the breakout sessions dedicated to podcasting. I tried to get on the stage last year, but Joe didn't feel like podcasting was kind of needed to be discussed then. This year he did, and there was a lot of interest, had a full room, lots of great questions. I shared my 12 secrets to a successful podcast. That was the keynote I gave. And I had a couple of big corporates contact me afterwards to continue the discussion, which is great. We are going to see a really big increase in this wonderful, wonderful medium that you are listening to in the coming months, in the coming year. Bit of a purple patch on the way is my prediction. Another insight from Content Marketing World, responsive websites are now a non-negotiable, particularly in Google's eyes. If your website isn't readable on a small screen, on a smartphone, on a tablet device, you are going to get spanked by Google and people are just going to bounce off your website real quick. So you must have a mobile-friendly / responsive website. Google are about to release an update in April 2015 exactly about that. Google want the internet to be an interesting place and an easy place to access. And if you can't access it on the most, on the smaller screens, which we all are now, then they aren't going to like your website. They're not going to rank you where you should be. Another learning, lots of content gathering ideas. I talk a lot about this in my keynote, but I think one of the fears of anyone embarking on a helpful marketing, on a content marketing strategy, is that they're going to run out of ideas. and you are not. And I have got a load of ideas on how to never run out of content marketing ideas, and there were plenty shared at the conference. Google Trends is one, using Google's predictive search and YouTube's predictive search, just asking staff and suppliers about what questions they have that they'd love you to solve. And a new website came to my attention, ubersuggest.org, and of course Yahoo Answers. There's lots and lots more ways of finding content, and in fact I'm going to run a webinar inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum and create a really, really helpful piece of content that basically will go through every single way I know to source great content. So if you aren't a forum member, I suggest you join over at crankmymarketing.com, because you get access to lots of good marketing training. Another insight from the conference, this hub and spoke model. So hub and spoke, like a bicycle wheel, the hub is your premium piece of content. Okay, it could be a white paper, it could be a video, it could be something incredibly special that answers a key question that your audience, that your prospects have. And then you surround that with lots of spokes. And those spokes are individual pieces of content that lead back to your premium piece of content, for which people give you their email address to download. So your spoke content could be a podcast episode. It could be an ad in a local paper. It could be a blog post. It could be social media updates, all leading people back to your website to download that premium piece of content. I like that idea. It's an old idea, but one I think we kind of often forget. I see a lot of small business owners forget about it. And the last insight that I'll share with you right here is that content marketing is the future of marketing, if you didn't know that already, and that you do need to start solving the problems of your prospects, and there's lots and lots of clever ways of doing it. And I'll add to that it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know, you've heard me say that before, but you have got to really lean in to this idea of creating content for the medium to long term, because you're not going to get results straight away. You've got to build an audience. You've got to build a tribe. So I'm going to continue talking about the content marketing world's learnings inside the forum. Love you to join me, because there is marketing gold right there. Righto, coming up, we are about to learn how to play a bigger game with Rowdy McLean. But first, a word from our sponsors. Now, do you need help getting something designed for your business but don't know how to get started? Worried about budget? Spending too much? Well, 99 Designs can help. 99 Designs is the world's largest marketplace for graphic design, and they make it easy to get a design you love. Just tell them about the design you need, pick a price package that works for you, then the fun really begins. Designers from around the globe submit awesome designs that you give feedback on. Within 7 days, 1 week, you'll pick your favourite and be the proud owner of a design you love. With thousands of designers at your fingertips, there's no limit to what you can get done. So what is it that you need? Boost your brand's visibility with a t-shirt, drive traffic with a sleek new banner or landing page, maybe a brochure. Projects start at $199, and your happiness is 100% guaranteed, or your money back. When you're ready to bring your brand to life, visit 99designs.com/SBBM. As a Small Business Big Marketing listener, you'll get a free $99 upgrade to use on your first design. You gotta love that. Now, how's that digital footprint of yours going? Like, what would I find if I visited your website? Have you got a website? Would you show up if I searched for something relevant to your industry? I do hope so. But if not, and you're starting to think you're an online failure, don't, because you're not alone. And fortunately, the solution to marketing your business online is a lot closer and cost-effective than you think. Thanks to the very good folk at Net Registry, who not only make this show possible, but are superstars at getting your online marketing sorted. They can get you the right domain, the best hosting solution, website design, even a Google AdWords campaign. So what are you waiting for? Time to get your online marketing sorted. Head over to netregistry.com.au today and tell them Timbo sent you. And now, back to the show. Hey, quick check-in. How's your week been? Mine has been a good one. I hope you are pointing north if you are in the southern hemisphere and pointing south if you are in the northern hemisphere, i.e. things are looking up. As I said, presented at Content Marketing World, also presented a full-day workshop for the Australian Institute of Professional Photographers in South Australia this week as well. Talked about helpful marketing. I shared the 12 characteristics of a successful website. We even did a killer innovation session thanks to an old guest of mine, Phil McKenney, who taught me that wonderful creative thinking process. Had a wonderful meeting with my new social media strategist, Lucy. I know you're listening. So look out, guys, for some pretty fancy social media activity from the Small Business Big Marketing Show in the weeks, months and years to come. And I got booked for a job in Fiji. 3 jobs in Fiji this year already. Got to love that. Popular conference destination. Hey, I hope your week has been an absolute ripper. I love hearing how you, the small business owner, are going. So, as I said, join the forum or leave a comment in the show notes over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. Righto, let's get stuck into today's guest. His name is Rowdy McLean, and he is a bonza bloke. Hit him up on Twitter, at Rowdy, R-O-W-D-Y, McLean, M-C-L-E-A-N, and tell him you heard him on Small Business Big Marketing. Let me share a little bit of his bio. Rowdy challenges the average and interrupts the status quo. I love him already. He helps high flyers to fly higher. He gets the go-getters to go even better. He makes the movers and shakers shake things up. Oh, I love that. I love it when we do things differently. Playing a bigger game is Rowdy McLean's life story. Overcoming adversity and challenges to achieve remarkable results. And boy, has he ever. You ready for this one? Rowdy retired at 34. Gotta love that. He absolutely loves the game of business and the game of life. He's a very generous fellow. Rowdy was at a recent speakers retreat, and that's where I met him. Rowdy now shares how to play a bigger game from stage, and he is a very, very much an in-demand speaker. Very generous. He wants everyone, you, me, anyone listening, anyone he meets, just to be the best they can be. So if you feel like you're leaving money on the table or you're not making best use of who you are going to love this fireside chat with this great man. I started off by asking Rowdy what's pissing him off.
You know, my story is play a bigger game, but the thing that pisses me off is people forget the fundamentals.
What are the fundamentals?
So the fundamentals are the basics about doing business. So I think we go to business school or we read books or watch television shows like Shark Tank and stuff like that. And we go, oh, we should be reaching out and applying this technology or doing this groovy thing or attaching that fantastic idea, and we forget the basics. Like I hate it that I turn up at a restaurant and the service is terrible. I don't care that they're cooking some master chef creation. If the person that's serving me is treating me bad,
So true. Customer service, like that is a basic, like get that right. And almost if you've got a bad product, your customer service can hide a bad product to an extent. That's the type of thing you're talking about?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I talk about that all the time. Is great customer service will cover up for your mistakes. But poor customer service will not enhance the great stuff that you do. It'll tear it apart.
So, Rowds, tell me, I love the whole concept of playing a bigger game. Can you define what it actually means?
So, play a bigger game is the relentless pursuit of excellence. You never arrive at excellence, but it's the relentless pursuit of excellence. So, instead of just doing the same old, or the 9 to 5 or business the way that I've always done it, it's that search for how do I improve, how do I get better, and even if it is at the fundamentals, like how do I get better at service? What can I do? It's always looking for that next step that's going to take you in the future. Because if the inside of your business is growing slower than the outside of your business, you're going out of business.
Are you asking people to really step up and execute a massive stretch, or is it just constant improvement?
Just constant improvement, but focused constant improvement. And
what do you mean by focused constant? What's the difference between constant improvement and focused constant improvement.
So improvement with purpose. So if you thought about a football team, for instance, they play on the weekend and they win or they lose, it doesn't matter. They sit down and go, what is it that we want to improve on next week? So what is the one thing or maybe two things that we're going to adjust this week that we can then see the results of on the weekend? And business is no different to that. So sitting down on a Monday and going, you know what, I think and we started talking about service, so we may as well stick to that. But I think our service is a little bit off. What's the one thing that we're going to concentrate on doing this week really well that we can measure a difference to? So it might be how you answer the phone. So I may have noticed that we're pretty abrupt and we're getting a little bit lazy about how we answer the phone. So this week, let's focus on being really good at that and watch how our customers respond to it. So it doesn't have to be, I'm going to come up with a massive play bigger game service plan and we're going to have this overarching theme that we're going to run for 12 months and we're going to get an expert in. It just needs to be simple steps that improve your business on a weekly basis.
Whose voice were you impersonating then?
Oh, that was just my deep voice, mate. It wasn't very good, was it?
Love it. No, it was pretty average, actually. I need you to step up with that those impersonations going forward if you could. Play a bigger game, mate.
Yeah, no, I'll work on it this week, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Now, Rowds, okay, that's good because what I like about that already is that it takes the pressure off all the small business owners listening because it's now clear that this is not like, let's get to a stretch goal, like one that's just going to scare the pants off us, but playing a bigger game is about focused, constant improvement. So looking for where we could be being better and making an effort this week, this month, to step it up a bit. So that's good because too often there's enough pressure on small business owners anyway. So it's nice to be able to do it in a kind of stepped way. Rowds, I want to go back a step before we go forward because I want you to take us through the process of how any of us listening can play a bigger game. But first, tell us about the time that you played a bigger game and why you're the guy to be telling us to play a bigger game.
I look back on my life and go, I can't believe that I am where I am today. Because I was a young guy growing up in a little tiny country town up in the northern tablelands in New South Wales. And, everybody was a potato farmer. You grew up and became a potato farmer. And so for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason I didn't want to be a potato farmer. And so I was the first person in my family to go off to university in Sydney, and even that was a pretty big thing because people didn't move to Sydney. They sort of hung around and it was a bit scary, but it stretched me. And so I did a whole heap of things. But probably the biggest thing that I did playing a bigger game was I was working for Telstra when I was 24. And I had these hopes and dreams of being my own person and having the freedom to do whatever I wanted. But I think we all have that. Where do you get to the stage where you execute on that? And so when I was 24, I was working for Telstra. Part of Telstra was privatised, the part that puts big telephone systems into hospitals and banks and universities. And so I left the day that happened and started a communications company in competition to Telstra.
Were you retrenched or you saw the writing on the wall? Or
No, I resigned.
Was that courageous or were you already a bit dissatisfied? Or sometimes not easy to kind of leave a cushy job in Australia's biggest telco.
And the thing is that the guys who waited for redundancy actually came to me looking for jobs and I didn't have one. They left it too late. So I was glad that I jumped ship and I might have missed out on a $10,000 or $15,000 redundancy bonus, but I made that 15,000 times over because I just got off my backside and went and did what I knew I could and I should have done.
So can I just to be really clear, so you're 24, you've been at Telstra for how long?
5 years.
They decide to privatise. They announce privatisation of the section that you're in. You resign.
That's correct.
Why? Because
I saw an opportunity. Like Telstra's service delivery wasn't fantastic, as we all know. Mm-hmm. And so there was a great opportunity. If you could get out there and actually do a good job of providing a service in a space where that hadn't happened, then you're bound to make money. So I could see the opportunity. I just had to have the guts to go and pull the trigger on it.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. Just had to find the guts to pull the trigger on it. How many of us are looking for the guts to pull the trigger on something? The privatisation, what that allowed you to do was go and start a business in competition to Telstra, correct?
That's correct.
All the contracts hadn't been awarded. Like, surely in privatising, there were already businesses ready to pounce. You were just going to be another one of those businesses?
I don't know. There was a heap of businesses ready to pounce. I think they had some idea of the opportunity, but we stepped into it, and it was a slow start. Like, everybody goes into business for themselves, knows what it's like. So, you spend 2 years, no sick leave, no holidays, no days off, working 70 hours a week, struggling to make a quid. But if you are using the play a bigger game philosophy, which is exactly what I did back then, is looking for those little improvements every week. So if you can imagine if you made 52 small improvements to your business during the course of a year, which is exactly what we did. So over 2 years, we started to own the market because we never spent a cent marketing. We produced word-of-mouth marketing.
Yeah, okay.
By being so good at what we did that one client went to another client and went, you've got to hire these guys. They are just so different to what we've experienced before. Like, they say they're going to turn up, and they turn up. Not only do they turn up, but they do a job better than we expect them to do. They're fixing things that we didn't ask them to come and fix. It was just mind-boggling how simple it was to create a whole brand around raving fans, which is part of, as you know, part of marketing. Probably the most powerful part of marketing is word of mouth.
So I don't even know what you went off and did at the age of 24, having left Telstra, but before you tell us and how you then took that to market, maybe the courage, maybe I'm overemphasising the courage thing, but as a bloke from the country who was never intended to go to uni, was never meant to work in corporate, maybe for you it was just like, well, it was just another step, it wasn't such a big leap out of Telstra to running your own show.
Oh, mate, it was a big leap.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
What were you most scared of?
Funny, it wasn't what I was scared of that was driving me. It was what I wanted to create. So I just had my first child, Joshua, had just been born, and I thought, what sort of a future can I create with him? Working for Telstra, the wages aren't great. We'll probably live in a small house for the rest of our lives, have fairly ordinary holidays, and he'll have to go to an average school. That's what was driving me, was the fear that the life that I created for my son wasn't going to be any better than the life that my parents had created for me. And I love my parents. They're fantastic people, but they just struggled to get ahead. And I didn't want to be like, I remember going to school and there would be an excursion on, and I was the only kid who couldn't go because my parents couldn't afford to send me. And I just got to the stage where I've gone, if I keep going down this path, I'm going to be that parent, and I don't want to do that.
Was that your overarching why?
That was my overarching why. That was the thing that drove me more than anything else. Still drives me today. Is you can sit back and live an ordinary life, but I live by two philosophies. First one is you are amazing.
Thank you.
You are. I don't think people step into that, and they don't have any idea of just how amazing they are. And the poor small business person, they're battling away day after day after day, trying to get the job done. They're the first one in the business on a Monday morning and the last one out of it on Friday afternoon. I wonder if they ever stop and go, geez, you're amazing. You are just phenomenal.
Rowds, hold the thought about the second one. Let's just go a bit deeper on the you are amazing. Like, it feels a little bit cliched. So do you mean as human beings we don't respect what we've really got to give, or what's this amazing business about?
I just don't think we respect how incredible we are. Like, we're the latest version in a long line of ancestors that have survived fire and famine and predators and disease and all sorts of things to arrive at the point that we're arrived at today. And, our lives are definitely better than the lives of those people who existed before us 50 or 100 years ago. There's no doubt about that. And I don't think we've reached the limits yet. And you think about the Olympics, like the amount of times where you think that record will never be broken, and then somebody does it. And we're just incredible creatures, We can experience emotions that no other animal on the planet can experience. We could run, jump, walk, ride a bike, it's just incredibly amazing. Like, seriously, Tim, don't you get out of bed in the morning, look in the mirror and go, hey, Tim, you're awesome.
Listen, mate, if I said I did that every day, I'd be lying. Every now and then I'd kind of give myself a little wink and go, oh, geez, Reedy, you're not looking too sharp. Not looking too bad, I should say, but that was a faux pas, wasn't it? So, okay, got it. Amazing. We don't give that enough. And in fact, I did a road show about 6 months ago with ex-Prime Minister of Victoria, Jeff Kennett, and he actually got on his high horse and talked about, hands up, who woke up this morning and thanked someone. What was the first thing you did when you woke up? And many people would say, I checked my email, which is kind of sad reflection on where we're at, isn't it? But a bit of gratitude around who we are and how we got here is probably a good thing. What's the second thing, Rowds?
So the second thing is anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that sounds a little bit cliche, but we just keep doing things that people never think we. My grandfather, when he first heard that the United States was talking about putting a man on the moon, said that will never, ever happen. I will bet my life on it. There's no chance of that ever happening. And it did. Mm. And now we hear that there's some chance of Richard Branson taking people on an intergalactic flight, and we go, yes, seriously, who would sign up for that? That won't happen. It will.
Matter of time.
Yeah, and so you go, I don't know, because let's bring it back to small business. You go, I don't know where I could find another 100 customers. It just seems impossible. But if you've got the right plan and you've got the right people supporting you and you're taking the right actions, you will. You will. There's no doubts about it. There are few things more powerful than a focused individual chasing down their goals.
Mm-hmm. We can learn a lot from extreme athletes, can't we? Or top of the grade athletes who just do this day in, day out. They've got coaches, they're very structured, they're very focused, they work on constant improvement. As you're talking, I just kind of, you used the footy analogy earlier, but it just makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. The problem is that we find it difficult to relate to those people because they've got gold medals and that's pretty much what they do all day. And so we go, so that person could do it, but I couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And that's not correct. If you put the same amount of focus and attention on it as they do, you can do it. And by the way, as small business owners, we're not trying to win a gold medal for the Olympics. We're not trying to be the best person at small business on the planet. Maybe you just want to win the gold medal in your street, the street that your business is in, or the gold medal in your block or your town. And what does that mean? You don't have to make major improvements to do that. You just need to look at who you're competing against and be better than them.
You don't have to be the best in the world. You just have to be the best in their world, as they say.
That's it.
Rowds, you went and started this business, mate. What was the business and how did you end up? Because, you made a whole lot of dough once you'd set it up and sold it. So, what was the business and what did you do to get to that amazing level?
So the business was called Coastline Communications, and we put telephone systems into banks and hospitals and universities, so massive, big telephone systems. We worked so hard to find our first client, but we knew exactly what we were going to do when we found that first client. We were going to look after them so well and in a way that we could repeat, because you don't want to get your first client and treat them like royalty, and then because then you get other clients, you start to treat them like lepers. So we were pretty clear on this is how we will treat every single client we get forever. If I was to do it again, I would have a written charter about that, but we had an understood charter about how we did that, and always respond to anything within 2 hours. Just a simple set of rules that we would operate by, that we did for every customer for 10 years.
That sounds a very obvious thing to do, but I mean, as a marketing guy, you go, yeah, that's a great thing to do. But as a 24-year-old bloke who'd started a business in competition to the biggest telco in Australia, had you sat down and gone and identified what they weren't doing or what they were doing wrong and just flipped it 180 degrees each time and provided the opposite solution?
Now, Tim, at the risk of sounding not as smart as you make me out to be, no, I didn't.
Oh, Rowds, don't let me down now.
Well, there's plenty of people listening who have gone, I just need to do something different, and have jumped into a business and then learnt on the run. And, there were no podcasts like this back then. I wish there were. So we had to do things by trial and error. But the one thing we knew we had to do is we had to be better than Telstra at what we did. And so we would turn up at the customer and they go, I hate it that I ring Telstra and somebody doesn't call me back for 2 days, or I chase them, or I'm on the phone for hours and hours. So that whole will respond to any request within 2 hours came from learning that on the run. And so our customers go, look, if you're struggling to get service for your telephone system, ring these guys. They respond within 2 hours. They did the marketing on our behalf.
Gotcha. And did you slowly build up this kind of list of things that, because I've actually spoken to a fellow a few months ago, in fact, he's on the Gold Coast, as are you, Joshua Nichols from Platinum Electricians. No, he's not on the Gold Coast, he's in Sydney, but he had a 21-step charter for every one of his Sparkies, 21 steps to follow every time they went into a home. And it was like, if they did that, they were going to provide an unbelievable experience and by default create word of mouth.
Yeah, look, I think that's an awesome thing to do. I think, personally, I think 21's too many. I graduated from the Disney Institute last year and they've got just 4. But I think having whatever the charter is, whether it's 4 or 21, having a set of behaviours that everybody in the business understands and everybody in the business can repeat 100% of the time. So the idea of having a charter of behaviours is not to have some that you do 75% of the time and others that you do 90% of the time. It's, if this is our charter of behaviours, like if we say we will call you back in 2 hours, that's 100% of the time, not 95, not 85, not most of the time. It's every single time. That really builds your reputation, because there's a whole heap of businesses getting around and they put these promises out there and then they don't deliver on them. That's probably worse than having the promise.
Yeah. Hey, Raz, when you graduate from the Disney Institute, do you get to choose one of the characters that you kind of reflect most with? Goofy?
Goofy. Yeah. I could see you setting me up.
Every day of the week. Every day of the week. Hey, what are the four charters that Disney have?
So the 4 charters of Disney are safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency, in that order.
Safety, courtesy, I get those two. What's show?
Show is you need to be in character all the time. So if you're on the Pirates of the Caribbean, then you can't be talking like a space cadet, or vice versa. So from the moment you step into the park, you have to be in the character of the place that you're going to be working. And you need to remember that it is a show. Like the whole, it doesn't matter whether you're cleaning the sidewalks, everything at Disney is part of a show.
And that 4th one was consistency, was it?
No, efficiency.
Efficiency.
Yeah. So let's look for ways to do things faster, smarter, be nicer, make things smoother, easier.
So, Rads, with Coastline Communications, how long did you have that business before you sold it?
10 years.
10 years. And did someone come in and make a ridiculous offer?
No. By then the margins had people had seen that there was an opportunity there. So companies like Siemens and Panasonic and Ericsson's jumped into that market because they could see that the margins were there, and so they just made it almost impossible to make a penny out of it. So didn't make as much money when I got out of it as I would have liked, but I made a lot of money along the way.
Now, you're a man who's, you don't mind a bit of hammock action. You don't mind walking along, romantic walks along the beach. You avoid work as much as you can, but you have decided, I'm not painting a pretty picture, am I? but you've decided that you're going to be the guy that teaches the rest of the world to play a bigger game. Why did you do that?
I can't get over the incredible things people can do or achieve when they put their mind to it. And so, the whole world is always moving towards being better. And so if I can help a small business be better at small business, that helps the local community, helps the people in the business, helps the town that they're in. If I can help you or somebody else be a better person, and that helps the surroundings that they're in. It's just part of that whole. We are hardwired to make progress, and if I can help that process, if I can make it work a little bit better, then I'm in it. And so, I get to speak at conferences all over the world about playing a bigger game. I absolutely love it, but I love the fact that the light comes on for somebody, and they go, you know what, I am pretty amazing. Things are possible. I can do that. That's just the thing I love more than anything else, is people being able to understand that being really good, being great, is not as hard as you think it is. In fact, I think the world tries to convince us that business should be hard. It should be hard. It should be fun. It should be interesting. It should be exciting. And there's heaps of ways for you to learn how to be better at it. This podcast is one of them. Like, how many ideas do you guys deliver week after week after week that makes life easier, or for the sake of going for a walk in the morning and plugging your headphones in?
Okay, I get it. I get why you've chosen to you're almost giving back and paying it forward with what you're doing now, with your speaking from stage, your workshops, the work you do with CEOs and things. But can you tell us about that one person that comes to mind where you worked with them? They might have just been in an audience and heard your keynote, or you might have worked with them over an extended period of time, but where that penny dropped right in front of you, and they've just become amazing.
The quickest thing to be able to do is tell you about the person who's turned their world upside down. Let's say the person who's lost 30 kilos or whatever. And I think any person who's in the space that I am could tell you a story about that. But probably the best story I've got is, or the one I like the best, is I got asked to come and work with a business that was working really, really well, but they plateaued and they just couldn't find a way forward. And so I've spent the last 2 years working with that business, and they're just going ahead in leaps and bounds. And so it's not the rags to riches story. It's we were already,
doing okay, and thought that there wasn't any more. And then we just opened a whole heap of doors, and they're going, my goodness. Okay, how'd you open the doors? What did you? Yeah, just so many questions, Rowd. Many questions.
I know. But I'll tell you a great exercise that we did with this company that I reckon any small business could do, right, is we did an apples and oranges exercise. And so we took all the business leaders, put them in cabs, and said, we want you to go to a business that is nothing like yours. So we sent them off to service stations, sent a group off to the cinema, another group off to a surf shop, and just to go, what is this business doing? And they're all going, Rowdy, you are mad. Like, our business is nothing like a service station, nothing like the cinema, nothing like a surf shop or a five-star hotel. Why would you send us there? And it's because we spend so long looking at this business in the same industry as us. We go to the same conferences as them. We hang out at the same places. We read the same magazines. They came back from the service station, for instance, and went, that's unbelievable. They've taken the McDonald's thing and put it on steroids. So the McDonald's, like, the greatest sales conversation introduced to mankind is,
would you like fries with that?
Yeah. But in the service station, they've got the fridges with the water in them. So one water costs you $3.75. Two waters cost you $4. So you go, oh, yeah, I'll have two. But when you get to the counter, they go, you can have a third for $5. So three for $5.
And would you like some lollies with that?
Yeah. But they're going, we all hear that McDonald's does it, but we never realise that service stations are doing exactly the same thing, but in a different way. And they all ask the question, why would they, when they sell a bottle of water for $3.75, why would they then add a third one for just $1? And it's because let's say they make 25 cents on that bottle of water. They've just made 25 cents that they would never have made because service stations aren't repeat loyalty business. They're a passing traffic business. I need petrol, I'm pulling in. And so, they may as well get the 25 cents extra off you right now. So they went, there's such a simple concept that you can apply in any business that will make a difference.
Yeah, and I love the idea. I remember talking to a past guest many years ago, Phil McKenney, who was the Vice President of Innovation at Hewlett-Packard, and he'd coined this process called killer innovations. And it was about how to think more innovatively about the problems in your business and how to come up with, solutions that are kind of left of centre. And a simple thing that he suggested doing was a bit like what you said, which is going out, actually go to a newsagent and buy some magazines of completely unrelated to a topic that you would ever even consider reading about. So, for example, you might go and buy a magazine on tattooing and just flick through it, look at the ads, read the articles, and it opens your mind to a place that you just would never have previously gone.
Because the world moves so fast now with technology, if you're not doing that, you're getting left behind.
Mm.
There are so many businesses cross-cultivating. There's a surf shop just opened up here in time for the Quickie Pro, right? And it's got surfboards going around on the ceiling, and it's got a big screen where you can tap the number of the surfboard and it'll bring up all the specs and show you a video. All the technology is pretty incredible, but they've also married it with a groovy little coffee shop.
Great.
Got a big screen telly that's playing surf flicks all the time, but the coffee shop is done really well. So they've gone, you know what, who comes into our surf shop? Oh, it's the person that's browsing around, looking for something, just killing time. Well, they'd probably be happy to sit down and have a cup of coffee as well.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
So, Rowds, one of the things that we spoke about earlier before we hit record, you grew up in a country town, you played footy with the local footy team, and, there were blokes now who look back at you and go, half of them go, well done, others go, what a wanker is that Rowdy McLean bloke. But you talk about dream stealers, and we've all got dream stealers in our life. Can you explain that concept?
So dream stealers are experts on everything and never done anything.
Right.
They're the person when you decide to go and start your own business or redefine your business or decide to run a marathon, climb a mountain, write a book, whatever. They're the people who go, oh, that's not a good idea. Oh, do you think you've got enough material? That won't work. It won't pan out. You're not as smart as the people who have done that before you. They're all the people that will give you reasons not to do it.
What do you do about them?
Get rid of them, mate. Get rid of them. I sit down in January every year and map the people that I'm closest to, whether they are, in light of what I want to achieve in the coming year, are they the right people to be around? Because that saying that we become the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. I'm really careful about who are the 5 people I spend the most time with during the course of the year based on what I want to achieve. So some of the dream stealers I just stop calling and stop hanging out with and don't have the time to have a cup of coffee with because, I want to hang out with, people like you where they're full of energy and enthusiasm and ideas. And like if you're a small business person, you're not hanging out with Tim Reid, you've got rocks in your head because if you want to grow your business, you're the sort of person I want to be around.
I purposely said nothing then because I think I just want to use that as a testimonial.
Seriously, we only met this year, right, Tim?
We did.
But before I agreed to do this podcast, I checked your material out and I've gone, do I really want to do it? Does it fit with who I am? And it's really, really good stuff. And there are 3 fundamentals to business, I reckon. So you've got to have a good place, a good product, and great people. And you'll make money, you'll grow, you'll survive. And people, when we're talking about place, people go, oh, but I don't have a place. I do my business online. Well, that's your place. And so I was checking out your place, and I love the way your podcast is set up so I can find my way around. I can get to the thing I want. I can extract what I need when I need it. People forget that when they go, oh, we need to put our business online, and it's clunky, and the first page doesn't even have their phone number on it. That's all I only looked them up to find the phone number so I could ring them, but now I've got to go to the contact section to find the phone number, and when I find the phone number, it's got +61 into it, so I can't just click on it and ring your place. I have to type it into my phone. It's just making it too hard to do business with. So I love the way that your podcast is set up. That
thanks,
automatically downloads to my phone. So in terms of place, you've done a sensational job. In terms of product, you've got an outstanding product. In terms of people, mate, you probably need to change your hairstyle, but you're going okay.
Mate, I would take advice from you on everything but fashion. Everything. Hey? What do you got on today? You got the thongs on?
Mate, I've got the flip-flops on, pair of shorts, T-shirt.
I'm glad you said flip-flops, actually, because I've got a lot of American listeners, and they probably just thought I asked you whether you're wearing a G-string. Oh, Rowds, mate, I tell you what, half an hour is not enough with you, and I am going to demand that you pop back in to my place at some point down the track, maybe later in the year, to check in, because, mate, you've got so much to give.
Mate, I'd love to. I enjoy the chat. And, sometimes you forget all the stuff that you've done or had a go at that's useful to business until somebody starts to ask you about it. Oh, yeah, actually, I did this and I did that and I've tried this and that worked. And it's good. It's good digging down into it.
Yeah, love it, mate. Well, listen, I'm going to get people to go and check you out. First of all, if you loved what Rowds has to say, go over to Twitter and tell him you heard him on the show at Rowdy McLean. So that's ROWDY McLean, MCLEAN. And you can head over also, is it Rowdy? What's the website?
So rowdy.com.au, ROWDY.com.au.
Oh, I love it, mate. That is simplicity right there. Thanks for being on the show, Rowds.
Mate, it's been a pleasure. I'm off to the beach, mate.
What about that team? What a good fellow. What a good fellow. Playing a bigger game is what it's all about. Now, if you loved that chat, or if you've got something to share with us about that chat, hit Rowdy up at Rowdy McLean, MCLEAN, on Twitter. He would love to hear from you. And I want to share my top 5 tips from that chat. Thanks to the very good guys at Net Registry and 99designs.com/SBBM for your exclusive listener offer. Number 1, learning. Stop hiding in the background of life and play a bigger game. Do you love that concept of playing a bigger game? It really resonates with me. It excites me. Every time I think about it, it excites me, it scares me, it challenges me, but it reminds me that we've got to keep stepping up, us small business owners, and being the best we can be. Learning number 2, commit to focused, constant improvement by selecting one thing that you can change right now. I love what Rowdy did, identify something and just work on it in that week with your team, with your suppliers, with whoever you need to step up that one thing that you could focus on to improve. Learning number 3, I love this. We're all amazing, and we need to acknowledge this much more often. Look me in the eye right now. You are amazing. I'm amazing. Let's get rid of that tall poppy stuff, particularly that we've got in Australia, and acknowledge we're just bloody good, Us humans, us parents, lovers, brothers, sisters, business owners, we're just good. Acknowledge it more. Pat ourselves on the back often. Hang on. There we go. You're amazing, Timbo. Thanks, Timbo. Number 4, have a set of charters for everyone in your business to follow. Like that. I've had a number of guests now that do that. Systematizing, documenting how you do things and how to do them well is a smart thing. Number 5, love this one. Get rid of the dream stealers. Goodbye, dream stealers. No more. Do it now. If you have to hit stop and identify those people in your life that are stealing your dreams, do it. Delete them from your phone. Delete their email. Maybe tell them you're Gonski. But get rid of them and surround yourself with the positive, with the good folk. The sum of our success equals the 5 people closest to us. Is that a quote? Is that a fact? Something like that. They're my 5 learnings thanks to Net Registry and 99 Designs from our good mate Rowdy. Love you, Rowds. Hey, tell me, what did you think? Hit me up on Twitter at Timbo Reid, REID. Or go to the show notes, smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, episode 231. And tell me what you think. But all I ask of you right now, go and play a bigger game. Righto, motivational marketing quote of the week. This one is from Brendan Burchard, from the book, The Motivation Manifesto. I've told you I love it. I love it. Can't get enough of it. I read snippets of it before I go on stage. It motivates me. Brendan says, and it plays right into what Rowdy says, if we want more motivation in our lives, we must make clearer choices and more deeply commit to them. Clearer choices and more deeply commit to them. I think the more deeply commit to them is the key there. We make choices, we make decisions every day, but do we really honestly commit to them? I'm guilty of not. Are you? Love that quote. I hope it gives you something to work with for the week ahead. Righto, if you enjoyed this episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, then you are going to love the Marketing GOLD I have in store for you. Next week, I'm joined by Mark McKeon, the creator of an incredibly powerful method for maximising your productivity without, get this, distraction or excuse. Mark spent a long time as the high-performance coach for Collingwood, Australia's most well-known football team, and I've got to tell you, that pains me to say that, being a Hawks man. So he knows a thing or two about being your best. So nice continuation following up from our chat today with Rowdy. To never miss a second of this show, go ahead, subscribe on iTunes. Hit that subscribe button now or on your favourite podcast app. And be sure to hit me up for a chat on Twitter at Timbo Reid, R-E-I-D. Do it now. Send me a hi. Send me a g'day. Whatever is on your marketing mind, I'd love to have a chat with you on Twitter. To book me to speak at a conference, head over to timreid.com.au. And if you want to pay it forward, then go ahead and tell another motivated business owner about this show. They will love you forever. And be sure to use 99designs.com/SBBM for all your design needs and Net Registry to get your online marketing sorted. A big thank you to all those who left a review on iTunes or a comment in the show notes. I love reading and responding to them, so thanks a lot. And a special heartfelt thanks to all my forum members. I love you guys. I love your commitment to growing your business through smart marketing and to supporting each other. You want to join the forum? Head over to crankmymarketing.com. Until next week, I'm Timbo Reid. You are a motivated small business owner, and you've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, Australia's #1 marketing podcast. May your marketing be the best marketing, and bye for now.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.